Good afternoon, everybody. Let me turn that volume down a little bit. I need to add like a little macro to my co-working scene or whatever, so I can actually like have the music shift down as I move over to that scene. I think that would be nice, but you know, it is what it is. Oh, how are folks doing out there? Albatross, how are you? Hopefully you're having a good day so far. I am just about to get into some podcast editing. I've got Pandas Talking Games on the docket for today, which is going to be a lot of fun. We've got the topic of power dynamics at the table, I believe. So we'll kind of see how that all works out, and we'll go from there. I think it'll be fun. And where is my stuff? I got to pull this all over. Excuse me. There's my social bridge. Pull that over there. And that should get me everything that I need. Perfect. Just getting things set up over on this side. Don't mind me terribly too much. Where is my window? Over here? Got it. Finally, that's working. Everything seems to be looking fine. Beautiful. All right. TikTok, sometimes whether or not they like it, I sometimes don't get the messages over here, and that's okay. So that's still a work in progress, and we're doing what we can, right? But we'll do what we can later when we have a little bit more time. I've been busy. A lot of Minecraft lately, a lot of time with some really phenomenal friends, making some true friends that I just adore. So I am really having the time of my life there. So we'll see how that kind of continues on later. I might do some streaming for Minecraft later today. We'll see how that all works out. If folks are able to hop on the SMP with me, then the private SMP that we're doing, then we'll probably go ahead and transition from this over to Minecraft at the end. But we'll see. We'll play it by ear. It'll be fine. This is just about an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll kind of see how that all plays out as well. So let's get into it. Let's get some pandas. We've got... I don't think anything else to kind of go over, so I'm just going to get started. Wait, you know what? I forgot to match the loudness. Oh, that would have been so annoying. Okay, so we're just going to do that quick. Get rid of these extra files that were the originals that got converted into 48K so that we were able to get the quality up to DVD audio quality, which I like. So we'll go ahead and get that, and then I'm going to go and save this before we start. So that should only take a moment. Working off the solid state drives. Here we go.
Yeah.
Click, click, boom.
And I'm using the correct microphone again.
Oh, good job, Senda.
That way you'll
Checked
sound normal.
Twice, just to make super sure.
Checking it twice.
Thank you to my ears, Senda.
Naughty and nice.
I didn't even make a list.
Hello, Ryan. I hope you're feeling better.
Gosh, Ryan, I do hope you're feeling better.
I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah. That sounded intense.
Take it easy on that bike next time.
Yeah. You were the second person I know who has had a pretty major crash recently. And
John Nolan's taser. Thank you so much for the follow.
Is one of my colleagues at work who broke her hand and her foot.
Oof.
Ouch.
And just, yeah.
I lucked out.
Yeah, like I say, like falling is for the young.
Falling is for the young, my friends. Falling is for the young, and I am not that anymore, and neither apparently are you.
To be fair, falling on your face from a bicycle is not good for anybody. On concrete, especially. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm getting nervous about getting back on my bike.
Well, I mean, don't do anything wild.
Yeah, I mean, I typically don't ride anywhere too exciting, right? I like to just pretty much ride suburban streets and stuff.
Yeah, keep it on the streets.
It's not why we're here.
It isn't why we're here. We're going to record something so that you can go take a nap.
I would really like to take a nap.
Yeah, I know.
Phil needs a nap.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's align audio and do background noises.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Yawn. Oh, thanks, Panda. Okay, so we need to grab the bloop file and pull that in so we can get our outtakes started. Getting hit by a truck is much worse than falling on concrete. You are 100% right about that, Albatross. Hopefully you are okay from that. That sounds wild. Yeah, no, I was like just starting out on my bike ride a few weeks ago, and my pedals locked up on me 3 seconds after I started, and then I blacked out and went into the concrete. So like it was potentially a lot worse. Thankfully my helmet took the brunt of it. I didn't break anything aside from a slight fracture in my right cheekbone, but they said it was barely anything to notice. So like they had no qualms with it whatsoever. Wild though. Still recovering though. I'm mostly there. My left hand is way better. My right hand is also view worthy, thankfully. There were some wounds on there that were quite gnarly before. But we took care of those, and now they are mostly healed up, which is fantastic. And got a little bit of a thing on my knee as well, but nothing broken that was significant or painful, which was fantastic.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All righty.
It does sound good.
Are you ready to start?
Yes. We can't forget to do the announcement about you not being able to record next week.
Phil can't record next week.
Okay. That's important. All right, Here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So let's pop these 2-3 things over here. We'll copy in the bloop. And we will set this as our opener marker.
Hey, Senda.
Hey, Phil.
As captain of this podcast, I order you to start the show.
I don't have my bike anymore either. Well, I mean, I do, but it's not rideable yet. I don't think it ever will be, honestly. I think I'm going to have to like sell it for parts or whatever and then get a new one at some point when I can afford it, which is going to be quite the expense. I love biking. It's one of my favorite exercises to do, and we live in a wonderful area near a national park. So like we're able to bike through that for free, and it's a lot of fun. But like, my goodness. Yeah, yours was totaled in the accident. Oh, I can imagine. One of my friends got bumped by a truck when we were teenagers, younger teenagers. They were doing a right turn and they just got bumped in the knees and fell over. But like the back tire got all messed up from just like a 3 mile per hour hit or whatever. Just wild. They just weren't paying attention to the right hand side when they made the right hand turn, which is a weird choice, but you know, obviously not intentional. So it was a wild experience back then too, but thankfully nobody got seriously hurt. You just had a little bit of bruising. 50 on your bike is scary. Well, thankfully you are okay now, at least, right? Hopefully you didn't have too many injuries.
Order you to start the show.
Wow. What if I say no?
Uh-oh. But I'm the captain. You're supposed to do what I say.
I guess we should talk about that.
Oh, fine. I'll do it. Cue music. Dude.
Show about power dynamics. This will be a good, important conversation, I think. Oh, yeah. Thank goodness. Alive and somehow nothing broken is like best case scenario with those conditions, if your bike was the only thing that got destroyed in that, that's definitely a blessing. Knuckles, hey, how's it going? How you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day.
Just a theoretical no, even.
I'm doing good today. I've got a lot of progress on the Minecraft SMP. I've got podcast editing going on right now with the Pandas, getting back in the chair for that, which is fantastic. I'm here. I'm feeling great. And recovering very well from my accident as well. So lots of good things going on.
And then you had to do it theoretically because couldn't do it in real life.
Oh, no. You know,
Phil,
Ryan edits this live these
Phil,
days, right?
Behave.
And welcome.
Just goes right into the show. That's hilarious. Behave, Phil. We've got a live audience here. Let's go ahead. It's okay, they're dating. Let's go put that there, and then we're going to cue music a little bit early here. Let's pull that in as well right away, so we can fade out Senda's laughter a little bit, because I think that's always fun. Music goes there, and then we will put, let's see, this right here, and select that, and we are good to start the show right here.
And welcome to another fine episode of Panda's Talking Games. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Phil.
And I am your other host, Senda. And before we get to today's topic, one quick announcement, which is that because life just kind of keeps happening, and we don't record episodes ahead to just have around anymore, because honestly, we've been doing this show for 10 years, and we just don't anymore.
It's a lot of work.
Because we survived the pandemic.
This is a just-in-time operation. We didn't have shows in the can before pandemic either. Don't make the pandemic sound like the excuse that we were ever put together.
No, but we would record 2 episodes at a time, so we could actually accommodate.
I mean, way long. Way long ago we did, didn't we?
We did. We used to have episodes in the can. Once upon a time.
Yeah, like totally forgot about that.
Good.
Yeah, we used to have the A show and the B show.
Yeah, the B show was always more fun.
B shows? Okay, anyway. The B shows usually went off the rails, but long story short.
I think the beefness was probably a B show.
That you are listening to right now will drop on Wednesday, the 19th of August, if you are listening to it when it comes out. We are not able to record next week because of family stuff. So you will not have an episode on Wednesday, the 26th of August. We are not pod fading. We just have life stuff. So we will expect to return on Wednesday, September the 2nd.
Gives me a little bit of a reprieve
sound like it got
well.
Everything? Did I hit it all?
I think you did. Nice job.
Sweet. Okay. Perfect. So, with all that out of the way, let's talk about today's actual topic, which came to us from Carlos, talking about power dynamics. So Carlos asked, dealing with inbuilt differences in power or responsibility within the party. One of the players is the captain or the all-powerful wizard. How do you make it interesting? How do you keep the party or plot from collapsing under the pressure differential?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool,
Good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we got a lot to unpack here. So we're just going to kind of walk through it slowly. We'll get to the tips for how to make it work. And then I think I'm just going to leave myself a note at the bottom. Like, we're going to have to talk about the interesting part, like how to make it interesting.
Yeah, how to make it interesting. That's true. I don't know if we just read it and we were like, yeah, power dynamics are inherently interesting because they are inherently a potential source of drama to me in a story. So we didn't really talk about that when we were planning this.
They could be a potential source of drama if you want it or not.
If you want it or not. Yeah. Like they can make it interesting in a good way or in a bad way. But yeah, so good. We'll put that in at the end.
Yeah, so let's just kind of slowly unpack this, right? I want to take it through a couple levels, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is where these dynamics occur, because Carlos's topic implies one thing, right? Which is it implies that this is happening at the level of character to character, right? That these power dynamics and their issues are going to happen character to character.
Yeah.
There are also, and I'm not saying that many tables run like this, right? But there are also player level dynamics, and they don't necessarily have to be power dynamics, but there can be, honestly, some set of dynamics at a table. For instance, if like, you know, in a weird case, like you gamed with like, you know, your supervisor or boss, right? There's like a weird power dynamic hanging out at that table.
I've actually done that.
If you are, now that we are into generations of gamers, you could be gaming with a parent or a child. There is an implied power dynamic between those, like between parents and children, and
that makes a lot of sense.
Older relatives, younger relatives, right? That's an implied power dynamic. There are couples. That's not necessarily a power dynamic, but it's that relationship dynamic can cause the same kinds of issues that power dynamics can bring up. And because why would we ignore the potential of kink at the table? And we'd be silly to imagine that kink and role-playing don't have an overlap. Some couples may also have power dynamics.
Yes.
Right? That is a thing that some couples enjoy. And so while Carlos's question starts at the character level, it's important to consider that there's also a player level set of power dynamics that could occur. Now,
they are possible. Yes.
Yes. Now, in my game group, I've had, the same game group for a long time. There are no player level power dynamics, right? We are just a group of friends.
Yeah.
Nobody's in a relationship with anyone else within the group currently. And none of us work.
Currently, they're so straight.
I know, but we were thinking of Sean's girlfriend may join us for X-Crawl.
Yeah. Well, she's a delight. So
yeah. So exactly right. But that introduces a different dynamic.
That could introduce a different dynamic. Yeah.
You sometimes play in my group.
That's true.
Introduces a dynamic.
That's also true.
Right. So player dynamics are a thing. And what I'm going to tell you is that when we get to how to deal with this, hint, it's a conversation.
What? As usual.
As usual. No surprise there. But it is important to talk about character dynamics separate from player dynamics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like the joke there is almost everything can be solved at the role-playing table. And in most, like, just relationships with communication. If you are able to talk openly and honestly and be open to feedback and open to whatever comes back your way, then you can have that sort of dialogue with either your partner, your friends, your table, your gaming group, your online, FPS squad, whatever. If you can have that sort of dynamic, then you can have a lot more of what you want and what they want through compromise, through discussion. And you don't have to suffer through anything silently. If you're playing something you don't like, you can talk about it. If you are in a scene that's kind of disturbing you, you can talk about it. You can even just use safety tools to say, hey, let's X this thing that we're talking about. I don't need to give you a reason. Let's just get it out of there and let's move on with something different. Or how about we re-scene this a little bit differently to avoid having that thing in the scene. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but it all takes communication, folks, just like any good relationship.
Very important. Yes.
Yeah. They are not the same thing. And it can be really confusing. Like, let's talk about when both exist, when they are in alignment and when they are not. So I'm going to do this with parent-child, right?
Okay.
So say a parent and child are playing in the same game. Mm-hmm. Okay. and there's already a player dynamic, right?
Yep.
Child, parent.
Yep.
Which typically states that parent says, do what I say, and child is supposed to do what parent says.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say that within the game, the characters, that power dynamics actually.
Not sure what that is all about. Let's try that out. Sorry, feel my there we go. Spam. That sounds good. Okay, we're back, folks.
Dynamics actually reversed, right?
Right.
The child is the captain of the ship,
Right.
and the parent is the
stowaway who just got on the crew because they can't drop him off anywhere.
sure
Yeah.
stowaway, or even a member of the crew, one that implicitly has a power dynamic involved, right?
Mhm.
Where now the power dynamic is the captain says what to do, and the other character does what the captain says.
The deckhand.
Right. Now, those power dynamics are actually running counter to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is where bleed, this is where us being messy social beings, this, like, all of that stuff collides.
Yeah.
So if you don't sort these things out, right? If you don't have implicit instructions about this and discussions, right? And you don't have understandings in place, you will stumble through this.
Yeah.
Right? What happens when the child says do X and the parent says I'm not doing that with my character?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right? Like, you've now entered a really awkward space, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, this is a very awkward space, because on one hand, if the child does what the parent says, that's probably in the child's best interest leaving the table, but it might not be the best thing for the group if the player playing the captain is taking orders, or the other, crew member is just not listening to the captain.
To the captain. Yeah. It could be messing. It could be messing with the setting or story or genre feel of your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do not discount that these things exist. So at the player level, right, I think we're very clear, like, humans sometimes have power dynamics.
Yep.
And it's worth noting those when you are assembling your table.
Yeah.
Now, character power dynamics, right? I'm gonna skip a section and then I'm gonna come back to it.
Okay.
Character power dynamics are usually brought about by the setting.
Yes. Yep.
If a setting has an implied set of power dynamics, then they get kind of imprinted upon the characters. So I will just use, for instance, a game like Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Star Trek has rank. That is a thing, right? And in Starfleet, rank matters. Like,
It's
higher
like the
level
military.
ranking officers tell lower level ranking officers what to do.
Correct.
There are orders, and there are penalties for not following orders. There are whole episodes about not following orders.
And if you were playing a Star Trek game and you didn't follow orders and you didn't receive that kind of penalties, it would no longer feel like Star Trek.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I think that's a great point, is that not only is there a power dynamic, it's expected.
Right.
Like,
It's
it is
part of the genre itself.
Yes. Yeah. You are actually diminishing the Star Trek game by not playing those dynamics.
Yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic point. Right. Then we get into other games like Twilight 2000, where most of the characters are military based, and that also has rank. Twilight 2000 winds up in this interesting place because, like, in the setting, the the American government has kind of abandoned the war and collapsed. And so it really opens up a question. And this goes to our section about how to deal with this.
Yeah.
How much orders are people going to follow? Right.
Right.
But anytime you wind up with a setting where there's a ship, a captain, or there's rank involved, any of those kinds of things, you have power dynamics.
Yeah. And I will say for my part, I'm currently playing Rapscallion, and we definitely have a captain. I mean, the captain is one of the playbooks in that game, and the captain's specific moves in that game all have to do with having a crew, how committed the crew is at any given time to what the captain's goal is, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Hey, Danny, how's it going?
Games can have power dynamics. I'm just going to touch on this again. I'm going to keep going, and then I promise I'm going to go back to that one piece I skipped.
Okay.
How important the power dynamic is to the setting, right? Really has to do with like how central that story, like that is to the setting. Like you said in Star Trek, right? It wouldn't feel like Star Trek if we weren't following orders. I firmly agree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite next gen episodes ever, The First Duty, right, is a whole story about Wesley engaging in a cover up at Starfleet Academy.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, because
they
they
are like
didn't follow orders.
they didn't follow orders,
It's a big deal.
right, and then when something goes wrong, they double down.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because
They-
it's better to still hide it
Yes,
than to
Whoa.
admit that they didn't follow orders.
correct, right? And like
Yeah.
that whole episode hangs on the fact that like Captain Picard tells Wesley like tell me what's going on, and Wesley's like nope.
No, right?
Like-
And that's a big deal that he said
Huge.
no.
Huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other considerate, right? What I'm trying to get at here is contrast that to something like a Firefly game,
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
where the ship has a captain, but like, how central to the story is it to be, quote, the captain, right? Like, you know, is it are we playing a game about the politics and personal dynamics of playing through these power dynamics, or is it that this is a ship and ships have captains?
Right. And that's
Like-
kind of where my Rapscallion game is. Like, it is not a game about how does the captain maintain control of this wild crew. It is a game about we have a weird wild crew who will probably do what the captain says most of the time, right? But like, they also might just go off and do something else without asking.
Yep.
100%, right? Like, and it's important. Like, it's important to know that,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
in the game that you're playing, it's important to kind of know, like,
How important is the power dynamic to telling this story and for it to feel like the genre you are attempting to emulate in the game?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, there are some games that like address this issue specifically,
Yeah.
right? So like Ars Magica is a game that handles as Carlos mentioned above, the all-powerful wizard, right? So in Ars Magica, every player makes, I think they make 2 or 3 characters, but basically there are 3 levels of characters in the game, right? There are the magus, the magi, right? They are the actual wizards, right? And then their companions, right? Those are characters that like work for the various magi. And then there are grogs, right? That are just like the scrubs.
Yeah.
So normally when you play an Ars Magica game, and this isn't every game, but most of the time, only one player brings out their magus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the rest of the group grabs their companions or grogs.
Yeah.
And
Looks like we've got a 3-minute ad running right now over on the Twitches. While that's running, I'm going to go ahead and pause it here for a second. I do love the thoughts that they're bringing up here, because like I never really thought about it, like how you know, some games in some settings, some genres especially, rely on that power dynamic, like Star Trek and whatnot. But like you go to a Star Wars, like everybody loves comparing Star Trek and Star Wars, right? There's never any arguments about Star Trek versus Star Wars on the internet, as we know. So that's an established fact. But in Star Wars, you've got the captain of the ship. You've got like Han Solo. He's the captain of the Millennium Falcon. And you've got Han Solo's crew. Now, it's just one additional person, right? Chewie. And Chewie generally goes along with what Han says. But like Chewie also has a mind of his own. And there's no repercussions if Chewie chooses not to follow Han's like orders, I guess. It's not even orders. They're just buddies, co-pilots, co-captains, whatever. And Chewie has a life debt to be with Han because of their history. And like that sort of power dynamic is really interesting, but it's like it's not as like a Star Trek sort of power dynamic, which is really interesting. Where you do have a full captain, the full military, like, hey, if you don't follow directions, you're going to get court-martialed. You're going to get kicked out of Starfleet. You're not going to be able to go on these adventures with us. So at the table, that's basically saying, you know what? We're going to have to potentially retire your character if you don't follow the actual orders from your captain, whether your captain is being played by a player or an NPC. And now I've never played Star Trek, the role-playing game before, but I can imagine that you could probably play as the captain. I can imagine that you can have your game master being the captain all the time. And regardless of how you kind of go about that, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do that can abuse that power dynamic, but also lean into it. You have to have that level of trust, right? And I'm guessing they're going to go over a lot of that coming up. It looks like the ad break is now ended. So thanks for sticking with me in that little aside. But yeah, I love this discussion. A lot of stuff that I never really thought of in games. And it's really interesting to see. And I'm curious what their advice is going to be coming up for all of that.
And so then, like, it solves the, or it deals with the power issue by being like, oh no, there's actual tiers of importance in this game. And we've all acknowledged, because this is, you know, Bob's night to be the Magus. Bob's character is in charge. We are the companions and grogs going on whatever this quest is.
Yeah. You saying that is actually making me think about and realize too, your game might not have an explicit like captain, right? But it may have someone whom the story is explicitly about.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I'm now thinking about Heroine from oh no. Something about goats. Oh, I don't remember who wrote it. Anyway, it's a delightful game, but it's specifically for doing like girl coming of age stories, like The Labyrinth.
Oh yeah,
or, you know, Alice in Wonderland, or
I think I
Wizard
remember
of
that
Oz,
from
right?
Sasgeek.
But there is a main character. She is the girl who is going on this journey, and then there are companions. They are there to assist her and go on this journey with her. But the story is explicitly about the girl.
Well, so thanks for joining. Thanks for the daily protection word. Hopefully you're having a good day so far. Lovely to see you here. We're talking about power dynamics at the table, and they're setting up a bunch of different wonderful potential scenarios out there of those dynamics right now.
That doesn't necessarily mean that she's giving people orders, but like from the perspective of the story, there is a character we care about more.
It's
makes
Ginger Goat Games.
Ginger Goat. Thank
Ginger
you.
Goat
I was
Games,
like,
yep.
red-headed goat? That doesn't sound right. I was almost
Surprisingly,
there.
you were almost there. Ginger Goat
I'm
Games.
So
really
close.
having word
Josh
problems
Jordan.
today. And so red-headed goat feels pretty on the money for how my brain is working right
That's
now.
Now,
Very
I think the
close,
important
Senda.
thing to note there, right, is that there's not a power dynamic.
Yeah, that's what's interesting, right? I'm bringing up the game because from a story perspective, one person carries more weight.
Yes.
But they still don't get to tell everybody else what to do.
Correct. Right. So that's not a power dynamic. That is more of a spotlighting or story management kind of issue.
Dynamic. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I took us on a little rabbit hole there.
No, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's a good contrast though, right?
Like
Because it
Alice in
does
Wonderland.
actually explain the difference between a power dynamic and something like spotlight.
Right. Versus sort of the
Hey, Moon. How's it going? Lovely to see you again. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day today so far. How's your Sunday going?
you can have main character story like Ars Magica, where main character is also the person in charge.
Yes.
You could also have main character story where that person isn't in charge of anyone. The story is just
not a
centrally
problem.
about them.
Thanks for
Yep,
stopping in to
the
support.
conceit
I'm
to
doing
that-
really well. Oh, and Moon, speaking of being out and about, you are now daily protected with a daily protection ward from the evils of the Negaverse while you are out and about and on your errands and other nefarious activities. I don't know. I'm assuming not nefarious is my guess. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'm doing wonderful today. I've got my hands are mostly healed. I can show you the backs of my hands without cringing at this point. There's just a couple little like surface things that are left over that are still healing on my right hand, but you can barely see them at this distance. It's fantastic. My left hand, the only thing wrong is my normal eczema pattern right around the knuckles up here. Now that all of the wounds are healed, I can start using my ointment again tonight, and that's going to be amazing. I've been doing Vaseline on my hands at night to help with the healing process, and that helps a little bit with the eczema, but like I need my medicated ointment to really just kind of nip it in the bud. So I'm doing great. And then my wife is coming home later today, so it'll be fantastic to have her back. And then I've got back into podcasting. So a lot of things going well. So yeah, absolutely. We are talking about power dynamics here. So if you're not able to listen too much, I can give you a rundown later, but it's like a really interesting discussion of like, if you have a power dynamic between players at your table or a power dynamic between characters at the table and how to like differentiate between those. Like if you were playing as a parent with your child, that's a big power dynamic in person, the people. But like maybe your child is playing the captain and you are playing like the subordinate or whatever, right? So now you've got like this weird like role reversal or whatever, and now you have to kind of navigate like, well, me as a parent would say, hey, we can't be doing that sort of stuff, right? In this game. But like me as a character, I would be like, well, I have to follow the orders, otherwise I'll be in trouble. So it's like, that's what this whole episode's about. It's really interesting.
Yep, and the conceit to that is that people then just agree that hey, you know, this is the person spotlighted. We're following the spotlighted person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you know, contrast that to a game that has a character level power dynamic where somebody is the captain.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what's really interesting, I find, about this topic is the power dynamics not only like apply at the gaming table, right? But like in almost everything in life. And like that's one of the beautiful things about like role-playing games in general, is a lot of the lessons that you can learn about fixing issues at your table, fixing issues in the game, in the story, figuring out how to navigate like even the fiction, right? How your characters are going to navigate the fiction and fix the issues within the fiction. All of that can be used to stem into your real personal life. So if you're having power dynamic issues at work, or like power dynamic issues in a relationship, or communication issues elsewhere, role-playing is like one of the greatest ways, in my opinion, if you have a group that you can trust, to explore how to work around those sorts of things and work on like your communication skills, your ability to resolve conflict skills, empathy, all sorts of stuff kind of works its way in there at the table in a role-playing game, which is super fantastic. One of the few hobbies that like covers a whole gamut of things that you could either just have fun with it, or you could do a lot of like self-care, right? Of course, with the consent of your other players. You don't want to air your therapy at the gaming table because that could traumatize your friends. We don't want that.
Right. Okay. Well, like anytime somebody can order somebody
to do
something else, right? And I think you said this during pre-show. So I'll try to sum it up like this. Anytime one character can override the agency of another character,
right?
That is a power dynamic.
That's a good definition.
Right? Same is true at the people level, right? Yep. At the player level. Anytime one person can override the agency of another, a parent can override the agency of a child.
Yeah.
I have overridden the agency of my children many a time.
Yeah, depending on the age of the child, and we'll just go way back, right? Because we can call this out because it doesn't sound good when we say it like that. But both as parents, right? Sometimes the agency of the child says, I want to run after that ball in the middle of the street.
Correct.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to hard order.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yes. Okay.
No, don't jump off the roof. No, don't ride your bike like off the edge of that giant steep hill that has a ton of rocks at the bottom. Whatever. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Perfect, right? Very excellent. Okay. We need to, so we contrasted it against Spotlight. I want to contrast against one other thing.
Sure.
That is leadership.
Yeah, I think that's an important call out as well. Yeah.
Leadership is not a power dynamic per se. Now, these two get sometimes tangled together because sometimes the person who's in charge is also a good leader.
We like it when that happens.
We actually would love if that happens, right?
Love that to happen, but they are not the same thing inherently.
Right. Yep. Captain Picard is a great leader.
Yes.
Right? And is the captain.
Yes.
Captain Jericho from the episodes where Picard becomes the Borg, Captain Jericho is the captain. He is not a great leader. Right?
Kind of terrible, actually.
And in fact, part of the subplot revolves around the fact that he grounds Riker for insubordination.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because he's a shit leader.
Correct. So while it is often implied that somebody who is in charge,
I think he did grow by the end of that series of episodes, if I remember correctly. I think his character arc did grow. That Captain Jericho, he got a little bit of like redemption in there, but like, spoilers for a show from the 80s.
Is also, quote, the leader. That doesn't necessarily mean they possess leadership skills, right?
Correct.
Leadership skills are the desire for people to want to follow somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Without the power dynamic.
Correct.
Right. A good leader does not actually need a title or authority to lead a group of people. A good leader inspires people to want to follow.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I bring this up is because leadership happens at the table.
Yes.
And it can happen at both the player and the character level.
Correct.
A player may be a natural leader and therefore just in the game winds up leading the players. Not necessarily the characters, right? Winds up leading the players by, being like, hey, hey, we need to focus up and get planning, or hey, we need to we need to go this way, that way, or,
right.
post up the ranger here and,
Or even being the person in the middle of planning who's like, hey, we haven't heard any of your ideas yet, Bob. What do you think about this path that we seem to be going down?
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So a leader can just occur. Now, again, we talked about the player level. There can also be leaders at the character level. Like your D&D party may not have a captain, but it very well could have a leader.
Yep.
Right? There may be a character that every other character gravitates towards and is like, okay, you know what? You're the leader.
Yeah.
And we will follow you. They don't have any explicit authority. They just have people have given them that they've given them that role.
Yeah.
And then so sometimes.
Oh yeah, and thank you for the lurk. Apparently, that's so funny. My any exclamation mark command is ignored by my bot. So very interesting. I'll have to fix that.
That they've given them that role.
Yeah.
And then so sometimes those can be the same person, right?
Yep.
So that person who's a natural leader at the table, their character becomes the leader of the party. That's okay. It could be the exact opposite, right? The party has is the quote leader of the party, but really on the player end, the person who actually gets the table moving in the right direction is just the person who's playing the thief. They just,
that's who actually pulls shit together. Yep.
Yeah. So there's that. And there can be, so not to make this more confusing, right? But there can be power dynamics and leadership and not all be in the same people.
Yep.
Like you can have one character who's quote the captain who gives orders, but really it's the lieutenant who actually leads and gets shit done for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
in character or out of character, right?
Correct. Yeah. All right. Again, we humans are messy. Right.
What?
And when we are a human and then playing another living being, sometimes human,
or at least someone we equate with similar emotions.
Correct. Yep. We are doubling our messy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you're with us up to this point, right?
A lot of setup.
Yeah.
Hopefully at this point you believe us that there are power dynamics, there is story focus, and there are leadership things all going on potentially in your game.
Yes.
And it can be happening at the character level, the player level, or both.
Correct. Good. Perfect.
Well, holy shit.
Right. Like this is like an 8-dimensional graph of sliders.
This is a cube. This isn't my normal favorite like Punnett square. This is like a Punnett cube.
This is a Punnett cube. I love it.
Boy.
Yeah. So it is complicated, right? So, and again, it will be made better or worse by how proximal, right? How important the power dynamic is to the setting/story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So in a game of roguish space pirates where we have to have a captain, but nobody really cares about who actually like follows the captain, not follows the captain, these issues aren't as pronounced. But in a game of like Star Trek or something else, these issues are more pronounced.
Yeah, they're a specific part of the built-in story, and we expect them to be part of the story.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you know where we're heading,
Yeah.
which you know it's time to have a conversation.
Let's go.
Let's go.
It is time to have a conversation about power dynamics. And we have a great model for having discussions about power dynamics because there is another group that has already figured this out.
Right. If you haven't looked into things and you want more information after we have a conversation, you'll know what to look up on the internet. Maybe don't do it at work.
Right. So I can already I can already hear the cheeks of Senda brightening as Phil starts talking there. That's so funny.
Yeah, I would not Google the next couple things from work.
Please,
but,
if you have children listening to this episode, maybe now is the time.
But power dynamics have existed in kink long before there were role-playing games. And so these things have been figured out. It is a conversation, no surprise. What we are going to talk about is, what do you actually talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to just model our advice from the kink community. Fair enough, right?
Yes, that sounds like a good way to start.
Okay.
What do you mean by model?
Well, how to have this conversation about the power dynamic in a game is very similar to negotiating a power dynamic between, say, a sub and their dom.
Yes.
Right? Like we're essentially establishing the discussion around how does this power dynamic work?
Yeah. And being able to put some boundaries on it and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Boundaries and understanding.
Like 50 Shades of Grey. So if you've seen that, they have that sort of discussion in there as well.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, the first thing, right, I think is the easy one, right, which is, and this isn't true for kink because this is really just specific to role-playing, is at what level does this dynamic apply? You know what? I take that back. It is true in kink.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say.
It is true in kink.
I disagree.
Because there are two. All right. So little kink lesson time, right? When it comes to power dynamics, right, there are really basically, I'm going to simplify it, right? There are two realms here. There is the power dynamic that occurs during play, AKA in the bedroom, right?
Yes.
Somebody can be in charge of the other person in the bedroom. And then there is what is called lifestyle, right?
Yes.
Where the power dynamic extends beyond the bedroom and encompasses day-to-day life.
Yep.
Right? And so, having that first discussion is actually super important, because if you misunderstand where this dynamic operates,
which of those two things you're headed into,
you can make a mess. And so, equally important, when we talk about it in a game, right, we need to talk about the different levels of power dynamic, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're playing a game and we have children, like our own children in the game, we need to talk about, does the parent power dynamic apply in the game?
Yes. And to what extent? And to what extent,
right? Like, can a parent override their child's action in a game?
Yeah.
That's a serious consideration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. In talking about power dynamics, right? There's a whole other power dynamic, GM and player.
Well, yeah. I mean, there is also that,
kind
which we don't
implied,
really
right?
negotiate at all, because we're all accustomed to it. But
sure, but what if your parent? What if your parent is the DM?
What if your child is the DM?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So now you got to start negotiating. How does that work? Right. Where are the lines drawn on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, again, if we're talking, so again, that's the player side, right? If we're talking about character side, now we're saying, hey, this game has a captain, and Jerry has opted to play the captain role. So we now need to talk about how that works with the rest of you.
Right. What does Jerry get to tell you to do or not?
Yeah, right. So that's the first discussion, right? To what level is Jerry allowed to override your agency?
Yep. Mm-hmm. In character. Now we're talking.
Right, because we're talking about characters, right? So Jerry's character, the captain, to what level can the captain give orders, and to what level do players take orders, right? And the reason we say this is that if you're playing this strict, if Jerry's character says beam down to the planet, your character beams down to the planet. But what if you don't want to beam down to the planet?
Right. What if you, player, massively disagree with this decision?
Right. And seriously disagree, not playfully disagree. We're going to talk about playfully disagree in a moment.
Right.
So what if you seriously disagree, or you have another idea, like, no, don't send me to the planet. You should send me to stellar cartography to do the research, and you should send
So-and-so, yeah.
Jim to the planet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to what level is that allowed? And so you want to calibrate, like, oh, no, Jerry's character is going to give orders, but at the player level, you guys can have any discussion you want.
Yes.
And then when you come up with an agreement, Jerry's character will give that order.
Right. That's the order that Jerry gives.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jerry's like, hey, Bob, I need you to beam to the planet. Bob's character, I need you to beam to the planet. And Bob's character and Bob goes, oh, you know what? My character would best served in stellar cartography. And Jerry goes, you're right. Okay. Bob's character, head to stellar cartography and do research. Jim, beam to planet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So that helps set the to what input, to what level are you allowed to override people's authority?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And what you've just demonstrated is personally, and I just will call this out, my favorite way to do it, which is at a character level, that person is in charge, but at a player level, we all still work collaboratively to make the decisions, right?
I got to be honest with you. I kind of hope that's the default.
I hope that that's the default.
Like,
I've never played a game that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's kind of what we all tend to fall into naturally, because I'm also going to call out, and this is really funny to me, right? I'm currently playing a game of Rapscallion. We have a captain. We didn't have this conversation at all.
I mean, sometimes you think of it, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you don't.
I'll tell you when you will talk about it is when this goes
wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? If it went wrong, we would definitely have this conversation, but we have defaulted to exactly the kind of scenario that you've just described, which is that out of character, we just have these conversations, and then in character, Jake gives orders.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will mention a game, right? Because there is a possibility. I can easily think of a game where you wouldn't do that, which is Paranoia.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it Paranoia?
Oh, Paranoia.
In Paranoia, you would be like, do my order, or you're going to get vaporized, right?
Yeah.
And but in that game, right, the game makes some concessions for that, right? So the game handles that.
People 974, welcome. Hopefully you're having a good afternoon. Thanks for stopping by to let us know that we also lost the game. Hopefully you losing the game on the daily is not bringing you down, because it's never gonna get you down. It's fun.
For that, right? So the game handles that by providing you with multiple clones, right? So
you could still be like, no, screw you, and then just pick up another clone.
Well, screw you, you get vaporized, or you vaporize the the captain or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you followed the order, got vaporized, right?
Yep.
And your new clone arrives and you're fine.
Right.
Right. So so there are games where you can be like, no, we're not,
we're not negotiating this out of character.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're not negotiating. Like, you're not trying to play optimally.
Yeah.
In Paranoia. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the first part, right? Is establishing your boundaries and establishing like where somebody can object. The next one, again, we're going to borrow from Kink here. The next one is to calibrate how much insubordination is tolerated, aka bratting.
Yes.
Right? So sometimes, and when we get to Carlos's question about interesting, right? Sometimes a certain amount of insubordination.
It is so interesting how much kink and RPGs overlap with one another. So wild. It makes so much sense, right? Because like kink is effectively a very, I don't know, real life role-playing scenario, I guess you could say. It's interesting.
Can be fun.
Yeah.
I will bring up a perfect example of this. I think you are probably just too old for this, but if you are familiar with this TV show, also make sure that your colonoscopy has been scheduled.
Wait, I'm too old for it?
I don't know how much of this show you've watched.
Okay.
Have you watched a lot of MASH?
No, I'm too young for it.
I'm sorry, too young.
That's why I was like, I'm too old
I'm
for it.
old. Yes, I'm old. You're too young. Yes. So the TV show MASH is about, I'm going to explain to Senda, you old people, just hang on for a second. Takes place during the Korean War, and it's a mobile medical hospital, and it is about a group of doctors. They are all actually ranked within the U.S. military as well, right? They have a commanding officer who outranks everybody, and it's a dramatic comedy. It has some pretty heavy moments and a lot of time, and then it has a lot of laughs. And the commander will give orders that not everybody follows, but then they don't get into too much trouble about it either.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's kind of funny when it happens, right? Or it's funny that they ignored it, or they ignored it for loftier reasons. And then the commanding officer is like, oh, shucks, you guys were right. I was wrong. You're not in trouble this time, whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
it takes me back because my dad used to watch that show all the time. So every time I hear about MASH, I always think of my dad, who had lost in 2009. And like, I never had really an appreciation for the show, but like looking back on it, I get it. I understand it. And like, I can see the appeal, especially for people from that generation, right? The people that either went through the war or the people that, had the war happening while they were around and alive and all that sort of stuff.
Sorry, that TV show, if we model it like a game, that it tolerates a certain level of insubordination and hand waves the consequences for it so that it can occur.
Right.
And so that can lead to hijinks.
Yep.
It can be funny, right? So like your rapscallion game might benefit from a certain level of negotiated insubordination.
There is certainly some insubordination occurring. It definitely has not been negotiated. And it's very funny because I think the person that it's impacting is not our captain, but our first mate.
Yeah. And so as long as it's funny, right, you're probably okay. Would it be better if you negotiated it? It's always better if you negotiate. But it brings up this point, right? Is like sometimes there's some fun, or it's necessary for there to be some level of insubordination so that characters can kind of do like they can create additional drama.
Right. So for in our rapscallion game, for example, what I think I would call out is that I'm not sure that many of our characters are particularly good at self-preservation, I guess is maybe the best way to put that. And so the end result is that the first mate, one of his primary character traits is this desire to protect the crew, right? And so he's constantly having to kind of step in and save us from ourselves or from our bad die rolls, because some of this is not even intentional insubordination. It's just Powered by the Apocalypse working the way that Powered by the Apocalypse does to create drama. Like, ooh, you failed a roll. Now there's a fire snake loose on the ship. Just like burning little holes through the wood of the ship. That's great. That'll be fine. I'm sure it won't be a problem. But who gets really mad about that?
Yeah.
The first mate who considers it his primary objective to protect everyone, and now the ship could be on fire at any moment, right?
Sure. But is anyone going to get walked off the plank for this?
No, probably not.
Right? Because again, there's a certain tolerable amount of insubordination, right?
Right. And I will call out, I think, and this is just for this genre of games, right? Like Rapscallion, this is the result of a failed roll, right? Like, so there has to be clemency for this kind of thing to a certain extent, unless we were interested in playing like a really cutthroat game, which you could do, right? You could be like, one mistake, you're off the ship. But we would lose party members pretty quickly because...
Going to let this play for a second while I go grab a beverage. I'll be right back.
You fail a roll, something goes wrong. Like, we didn't actually have control over that as players even.
So I think right where if you don't negotiate, right, where I think problems arise, right, is where a player thinks that there is a certain amount of insubordination, bratting allowed,
Yes.
and somebody else thinks there's less,
Yeah.
and they do a thing, and now it like bleeds back into the player level, right? Because now the player's like, I'm the captain, nobody listens to me. You know what? Send them to the brig.
Right.
Now it's like, send me to the brig.
Like what? Like I did not. This is not the consequence that I expected for these actions. Right.
Exactly.
Now
I feel like
I'm
a
being
slap on the wrist.
Right. And now I feel like I'm being like massively punished for something unexpectedly. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So So bratting, how much bratting is allowed should be negotiated.
Yeah, that's fair.
One way to
Do
put it.
as I say, not as I do.
Correct. And then the last piece of this is, and we just touched on this, is what are the consequences for not following orders?
Right. Is it a slap on the wrist? Is it an oops, you released a fire snake on the ship, never do it again, and I'm just going to kind of scare the crap out of you? Or are you...
Is it sending him to the brig?
Right. Or are you being court-martialed?
Yeah, I mean, in Star Trek, disobeying a direct order gets you, at the very least gets you sent to your quarters until the captain decides what to do with you, but could result in being put in the brig.
Now, I'm going to put a caveat on this. I don't know if they're going to talk about this in a little bit, but this is really interesting. We're talking about Star Trek. Star Trek power dynamics being very strict and follow the rules or else, right? But one of the things they haven't brought up yet is tone of the game. They've kind of danced around it a little bit. But if you're playing a very serious, dramatic forward game, serious consequences for disobeying orders makes a lot of sense, right? Star Trek, if you disobey, you could get court-martialed, blah, 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 right? You could go to the brig. You could get insubordination, all that sort of stuff, right? But like Lower Decks is also canonically Star Trek. It is in the canon. It is a cartoon that is supposed to be funny. It has a lot of wacky moments of disobeying orders and things going awry and or getting fixed in the end because it's a lighthearted sort of ordeal, right? So like, it's super interesting. Like if you are playing a more lighthearted game with a lot of like comedy and stuff like that, insubordination and not following orders and shenanigans happening because of it feels like you're going to get more of a slap on the wrist because, everything works out in the end, even if half the ship got like ransacked or whatever, or you ran into a port and now the port is broken, but we hightailed it out of there, right? Because, whatever. So shenanigans could happen and shenanigans could happen again. You'll shenan and then you'll shenan again, right? And in a lighthearted tone of a game, that's perfectly okay. And you'll get that slap on the wrist and you'll move forward and everybody will have a laugh at the table, I think. And even in the fiction, it will make a lot of sense. But if you have that sort of light-hearted consequence consistently in a very high drama, high stakes game where you negotiated ahead of time in your session 0, like this is going to be a dark take on Star Trek, right? It's going to be like a grown-up, dark, high consequence, high risk, whatever sort of Star Trek game because we want that interpersonal drama. Well, now you've got massive tension when it comes to disobeying an order because you know what that means. You know that that's going to be really tense, a really interesting, intense moment of role play that you're going to be opening up. You have to also have that trust, though, with the people that are giving the orders. If you're trusting that most of the orders are in good faith, then you're going to be fine. Or if you are all discussing, like, what should we do as above the table, not in character, and then the captain comes in when you're actually back in character and says, we're going to do what us the players as a group decided on, then you're following all the orders that you all came up with. But it's in the fiction coming from one specific character that has the authority, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can play that, but I think it's really interesting that you can go through and have completely different rules depending on simply the tone of play. So that's also something that you'll probably want to keep in mind if you're working through these power dynamics at the table. And I'm very curious if the Pandas got into that or not. So we'll play to find out, as they say, in the Powered by the Apocalypse world. So
right. I mean, it may have consequences in terms of your ability to continue to engage with the game.
Yeah.
Is really what we're talking about.
The game could mess up the dynamic at the table.
Yep.
All of those things. Like if you were a character in Star Trek and became insubordinate enough that security had to haul you away, exactly how do you play the next session?
Yeah.
Right. How do you get back in the game? Or how do you make that how do you make that up in a way that gets you back on the bridge?
Correct.
Yeah.
Like what if your character gets busted in rank? Right? You're like an ensign and sent to Cargo Bay 7 to go, clean the conduits or something.
Right.
Well, now what?
Now what do we do? I'm sharing spotlight between all the cool stuff happening on the bridge and then you.
Yeah. So that's the last piece you have to talk about here is like,
which honestly could work in a comedic setting. The emotional whiplash of like high tension on the bridge, and then okay, what are you doing in the cargo bay? You just got a scour mark off of the console that you're working on, and it's like such low stakes compared to such high stakes. Can be some interesting back and forth tension relief in a more comedic game session as well. So you could have massive, big consequences in a fun sort of setting too, but you can play with it and make it fun, right?
What are the consequences for not following orders? And then like you said, and I think this is a good corollary to not only the consequences, but how do you get back?
How do you get back? Or is it an intense consequence, but there remains a way for you to be engaged in the game?
Yeah, like for instance, MASH was a 30-minute TV show, right? Problems resolved at the end of the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the next time the show started, that character was, back to their bullshit again.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Like, or they were up to new bullshit, because it was episodic. And, to some extent, TNG was a little like that, but Deep Space Nine wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like, how do you get back if you are going to be punished for your insubordination?
Yeah.
Okay. That framework right there will help you figure out how to make the character dynamic work at the table. To Carlos's last part, and this will be our last section of this before we wrap up. How do I make it interesting?
Yeah.
Right? How you make it interesting is you explore.
Thank you for redeeming your daily protection ward. You're now protected from the evils of the Negaverse, and hopefully it helps with your day as well going forward. Thank you.
Those areas, right? So we explore insubordination. We explore not following orders.
And the consequences, they should be interesting.
Correct.
Right? And I think the other thing, oh no, I had a thing and I think it might have just left as I was starting to say it.
Send us brain.
You should keep going.
Send us brain. Why?
Imagine a Star Trek game where the captain is like, do not release that micro organism onto that planet, and you disobey the captain and you do release it so that the microorganism doesn't go extinct and now can live on the, this empty planet, but you've broken the prime directive because whatever.
Yeah, you did.
I'm not doing this one too hard, and don't get on my case because I know plenty of Star Trek and I didn't just, not using the prime directive wrong. It's correct. it's not an actual society. You could let the microbe onto the planet, but just you disobeyed the captain. Anyway, don't get on my case about this. I know plenty of Star Trek. The point is,
Yes.
the point is, like you said, the drama is in exploring these spaces of insubordination.
I could just hear the like, actually, Phil, going through Phil's head as he was discussing his off-the-cuff example.
Consequences of insubordination. And sometimes the consequences of giving and or following
The orders.
like sending somebody in harm's way.
Right. And knowing you did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the way you make it interesting is you make the things that we're talking about challenging.
Right. And you give them weight and consequence that matters.
Like,
right?
for instance, I know a good one. There's a fantastic, I'm just on a TNG kick right now, right?
Yeah.
The episode where Picard falls in love with that woman, the scientist woman.
Oh, yeah.
Right? She's
Yeah.
like a lieutenant commander or something like that.
Yeah.
And he like sends her to the planet and he can't beam her back. Right?
Yeah. But
Like-
he's the one who sent her because
Right.
he's in charge. And now you've got emotional messiness because their personal relationship conflicted with their power dynamic professional relationship.
Or
Yeah.
anytime Cisco has to deal with Jake in trouble.
Oh my God. And those episodes are so fantastic.
I mean, that's
Love
Captain
them.
Cisco and the best space dad ever,
yes.
Space Dad.
like in conflict.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think the other thing that's just really important, firstly, you all have to be on board, of course, for exploring those themes as you're discussing. But also, secondly, I think that it's really important that as you approach playing with and exploring those themes, having discussed everything, the other really important thing, and this can be true at sort of any level of how important the power dynamic is to the storyline or the genre of the game, is how do you still make sure that the non-captain, like non-in-power players are still getting plenty of opportunities to make their own decisions, even in a structure that's really pretty rigid, right? Like even in a Star Trek structure, the people on the bridge are still making their own decisions, right? And it might be as small as like, there's an incoming blip on my radar. Do I want to analyze it or do I want to immediately tell the captain about it, right? Like,
Yep.
So there still have to be decisions that each individual player is making that still matter.
Yeah. And also, again, if you're playing something like Star Trek, right? The dynamic, right, is that the captain is open to hearing from their officers.
Yeah.
So the character has the opportunity to, to be able to say, like, Captain, I advise, like, we,
Yes.
we run an additional layer of scanning or something. And it's like, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
know.
Exactly. Because you're in a Star Trek kind of situation, the captain is a strong generalist, right? And
Yes.
under them, they have a bunch of people who are really, really awesome specialists in a specific thing,
Yep.
right? So like when it comes to the engines, the folks down in operations know them much better. Engineering. Oh, God. Y'all, I'm having a day and I just want to promise the world that my brain still remembers words most days, just not right now. So down in engineering, they know the engines much, much better than
Yes.
the captain does, right? So the captain is not going to give them orders on the level of the really specifics of what they need to do to get an engine back online, right? But the captain might call down to engineering and say, what's up with our engines? How do we get them back online? Right?
Yes. Unless you're Janeway, who is an engineer.
Well, that's different.
correct.
She's just the best. So what do you do?
Sure.
Like,
But this gets into the right. So this gets into actually leadership.
Like, interesting aside, it is canonical in the Star Trek universe, and I don't think they've ever explored this except for maybe with the lower decks, I haven't seen much of the lower decks, unfortunately, but like I think I remember them talking about it at some point. They have on a lot of starships a dolphin command space. There are dolphin crew members that contribute to the overall like science of they're intelligent enough to communicate with and work with and order around and take orders from and whatnot. I mean, they're like any other alien, but they're literal dolphins from Earth that have like, translate. I don't know. It's really interesting. Like I don't know why they don't explore that more often. Having the dolphins, like, I guess it's too science fantasy, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But it's just so funny that they have a section in the like manuals for like the starship designs and all that sort of stuff that says this is where the dolphins are kept. And this is where they thrive. And it's like all this underwater area of the ship. It's wild.
It does a little bit, right? But I mean, I guess part of it is, part of what I might be getting to is I don't think that any of us love to be micromanaged in real life.
I don't think you signed up to your D&D game to escape your micromanaging boss, only to be micromanaged by your buddy who's playing the insufferable cleric who's telling everybody what to do.
100%, right? Like, so this is one of those things that, negotiate, right? Negotiate to what extent can people give orders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I think there should be generally a broad understanding that like whoever's in charge from a genre perspective, from a story perspective, and the structure that's created, the expectation is not that you tell every single person exactly what to do at all times, right? And this is, you should negotiate what level works for you and your table, but that your orders should be broad enough that even in following your orders, the other characters get to make decisions about how to do the thing.
Yeah. And again, you're exploring these surfaces, these areas to make it interesting. My advice is go watch any, watch Star Trek if you want to see how rank and command drama is done.
Yeah.
Right? Like look it's over really all the different, like there's so many episodes where these conflicts come into place.
Oh yeah.
And they're really cool.
Even challenging ones, like you go watch early Voyager to look at how the Maquis characters have to wind up like getting in line with a Starfleet a Starfleet captain.
With a Starfleet captain and with the Starfleet power structure, which is
there's a bit of Brady Bunch action going there, right? Good. Like they've each brought their own family and they're now having to integrate kind of thing.
Yes.
Watch if you want to watch some peak TNG will give you will just give you the challenges of like orders and doing the right thing. Deep Space Nine, if you get into the later seasons, so there's actually a couple different things you can pull out of Deep Space Nine. In the later seasons, you can get some really good issues of command in war.
Yeah.
Like how do you command ethically in a time of war? You can also get into things like what happens when the power structure above you may be corrupt.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a whole plot line of Deep Space Nine that kind of explores that. If you want to look at some mild insubordination, look at Strange New Worlds. Pike is Pike takes some liberties.
Yeah.
Daddy
in
Pike.
Terms of his orders, right? Like,
well, and I would say also back on DS9, you can also there's also a lot of exploration of themes of like accidentally ending up with power over sort of a religious situation that you don't even really want.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a power dynamic that Cisco as the emissary.
Yes.
He shirks, like he
doesn't-
frequently shirks that responsibility. He avoids it.
He doesn't want to be the emissary.
Yeah, it but then has to be at times, right?
Yep.
There's a call to lead.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, good. Hopefully, as I'm looking at the clock, and we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Carlos, that gives you some ideas of one, how to make it interesting, but two, how to make it playable.
Yeah. How to make sure that everybody's having fun at the table.
And like you said, right? Like you don't have to have these discussions until something goes wrong, and then you probably will want to have these discussions.
Yeah.
But if you're setting up a new game and you know that there's a captain or there's authority or whatever, having a little discussion about the power dynamics may save you some headache.
Yeah.
And may open up some interesting ideas for you to like explore stories.
I'm going to be real. I looked at Jake, who was playing our captain, and it never even occurred to me in any world that we couldn't be insubordinate to him, nor that he would actually try to truly impose his will on any of us, and we just moved on.
I mean, it's fine, right? Or you could, next time you guys are having dinner pre-game, could just be like, hey, are we all on the same page? Yeah? Okay, great. Yeah.
Kit's going to be so mad at me that I just talked about Rapscallion a bunch and he still hasn't played it, but I just had to put that in the end, and I'm saying it because I bet he's going to listen to this episode.
There we go. All right, with that, Carlos, thanks so much for the topic. It was a fun one.
It's a good topic. Thank you.
It's a good topic.
Yeah, they didn't get into tone, which is, I mean, they implied it in a bunch of spots, but like, I think tone has a very influential influence. I don't know. That's a wild sentence on the on how power dynamics in character are going to work in a game, and it's interesting. But I'm glad that we're doing this live, because I think that's an additional, a nice addendum to the topic from the pandas. All
right. Senda, give me a blurb. That'll get us started on the way out.
Sweet. Yeah, let's see. Eeny, meeny. Let's just do on Thaco with Advantage. You can hear Ange and Jared, who love talking about RPGs and D&D. It's kind of a show similar to this one because they're going to sit down and they're going to talk about games, but more specifically, very specifically about D&D. So together they share insights about the games that they're running, and they tackle a variety of topics that are specific to D&D in the DM's workshop. And they sometimes even talk about really old editions of D&D. So if you are a person who's been playing for a long time, you may also enjoy those bits.
Sweet.
Yes.
Excellent. Where can people find us on the internet?
Well, you can find us at polygamerous/panda. That's polygamero.us/panda. The link will also be in our show notes, as it always is,
and it's
just
right
in
there.
case. And that is where you can find all of the different ways to reach out to us. And Phil, once they have found their favorite way, what can they do with that information?
Oh, just like Carlos did, send us a topic, an idea, a question.
Delicious topics.
Yeah, just throw it out there. You don't have to be super specific. You can just throw out a topic, anything you're interested in hearing us talk about. We have been doing this for about 10 years. We are plenty experienced in taking your topic and figuring out how to make a show out of it. So don't worry about that. We'll take care of that part.
And if anybody listening has a topic that they want the pandas to cover at all when it deals with, gaming and intersecting with whatever, let me know and I will pass it along to them. So if you do have any topics, let me know, and we'll probably give you a shout out on the episode. I'm sure they would. I'll make note of who asked what, but feel free to either DM me or throw it in the chat, and would be lovely.
Our goal is to provide you some information, some ideas, something you can take to the table to have more, better, fun games. Right? Cool. So if you like what we do here elsewhere on the Polygamerous Network, consider supporting our Patreon campaign. Go to patreon.com/MMP. There you can get access to the Slack room, which is where I'm pretty sure this topic arose.
It definitely did, yeah.
Yep, that's a way. That is a way to get a hold of us. It is I don't think it's an exceedingly large community, but it is a friendly community of gamers. who have all sorts of interests, from reading to cooking to IT. So you can come hang out with us and chat for a bit. We'd love to have you there. It's also a very easy way to drop off a topic for us. It is by far the surefire way I'm going to see it.
Yeah, we're really good at Slack.
Super good at Slack.
We're not always super good at other forms of social media.
Slack though. Slack I'm amazing.
I'm a monster.
That's not to say that you have to do that. We will find it if you post it in other places.
Eventually.
Right. Anyway, if you are already supporting our Patreon campaign, thank you so very much. It goes a long way. It does take some monies in order to have.
Looks like we do have an added progress, but like we are at the end of the episode here, so we're gonna keep on pushing through. It's just the outro credits, which we hear in a different stance every single time I do one of these edits. But if folks are still here, thank you for sticking around. All the things that we have
and do for the podcast and the network. So thank you for helping make that possible. And if you are unable to do it, there is a thing you can do, which is to use a little bit of your precious time to do what, Senda?
Yeah, tell a friend. We like it when you tell people about us. That it's really actually the method that works the best to let new people know about the show. Because honestly, we're real bad at SEO, right? Like we named the show Panda's Talking Games. Doesn't really tell anybody what it's about. Look at us.
What?
Oh,
I mean, we talk about games.
We do talk about games.
And they are pandas. Well, no, it's Phil and Sendas. There's an apostrophe S instead of an S apostrophe, right? It's a play on a portmanteau, which I adore. I love portmanteaus. I love saying the word portmanteau almost as much as I like saying the word shenanigans. So plenty of fun words to say in this world.
But yes, our SEO is terrible.
It's terrible.
Our marketing is non-existent.
Yep.
We like talking to you guys and to each other.
Right.
And then we're just not good at any of the other parts of this.
Right. Well, realistically, I used to do a lot more work on this. It's been 10 years, y'all.
Yeah.
But we still like talking about this stuff.
I still like doing the talking part. But I am bad at social media now. So
honestly, marketing one's self is ridiculously difficult when you don't like putting yourself out there as like a commodity in a way. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. There's some people that have the knack for self-marketing. I am not one of them, which is why I used my programming knowledge to create a thing that markets for me. So when I go live, it posts to my social medias. And it gives me reminders to post it to other Discords and say, hey, look at this, blah, blah, blah. We're going live. Come join me. Have fun. And all that sort of fun stuff. And I've got my social bridge bot, SB, down here. She is doing everything she can do to periodically remind us of things that one can do or whatever. You know, welcome, everybody. So, yeah, self-marketing is hard. But if you can use your skill sets to make it easier on yourself, it's not terrible. But I digress. Welcome back, folks, from the ads. For those that were stuck in the 3-minute ads, I do need to do a little bit of research because, like, I don't think the pre-roll turns off until the first ad starts in a Twitch stream. And I've got my first ad starting at half an hour in. If I'm doing half an hour of pre-roll, that's wild. I'm curious if I can just do a 3-minute, like, here's the ads right at the beginning, and then just wait 3 minutes to actually start the stream. Does that work? I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I'll do some research. We'll figure it out, folks. Don't worry about it.
So when you tell a friend, you're saving me from feeling guilty about not doing the kind of marketing that I used to do for this show. So I really appreciate you. But if you don't have someone in your life that you feel like would be a good fit for this show, that's also fine. You can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or the podcatcher of your choice, wherever you are listening to this show right now, whatever your favorite one is, or multiple. You could do all of them. I don't care. We love you for it. And thanks so much to everybody who has already left us a review or recommended us to someone else. We know some of you are direct beneficiaries of someone saying to you on the internet or otherwise, hey, you should listen to this show. It sounds like what you're looking for. So thanks to everyone.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
You know what? I'm going to throw that little caveat to anybody watching the stream. If you have a friend that you think would enjoy watching the stream, go ahead and let them know, hey, this person, they stream every now and then. Here's kind of their schedule, and this is what they do, and I like to watch them. I don't know. This is me trying to market myself. Is it working? I don't know. But you know what? I'm glad for the folks that are here, and I'm glad for the folks that I made friends with along the way. So it's doing something.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Say, Sunda, what if I asked you to do... Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Show me what you got.
I was like...
Okay. That was a wild
waiting on pins and needles for what you were going to ask for there.
Show me what you got.
You could have said, what if I ask you to sing the closing song to the show?
Oh, see, too late now. If we scripted that shit, that would have been great.
That would have been great,
That would have
right?
been fire.
It would
Just make that stuff up as we go.
No, it's fine.
Hey, welcome.
Nope.
Stuff up as we go.
No, it's fine.
Hey.
All right, we'll go cut these out for the outtakes and bring that all the way back to the start here. I think that's the last outtake. It is, yep. And then we're going to come in here and where is my folder? That's what I'm looking for. Brain, just got to brain a little bit more. We're good to go. Okay. Let's put a pin right here for the ending. Whoa, there we go. And then we need to shoot these over a little bit and then do a like 3-minute gap, give or take. We've got outtakes here, so put a little marker there. And the lounge, it's right about here-ish. Lounge. And we'll pull in that lounge outro, or intro rather, Bamboo Lounge intro. Right here, give or take. Slight adjustments. Good to go. Okay, so lounge is all set. We've got all of this over here. Let's pull in those outtakes from the front. Looks like 2.5 minutes of outtakes, not too bad. Shunt ourselves all the way to the right again. Pop them in there. And before we move on, let's go ahead and go to the home. We will export this section, power dynamics.wave. We will get onto the correct directory. Was that the correct directory? Yes, it was. Hit OK. Episode 430, Panda's Talking Games, in the bag, getting mixed down right now. You can see all the little processing that's happening over there. Not too bad. Then for the lounge, since this is their Patreon exclusive stuff, I'm just going to go ahead and site clean all the little blips and bloops that we know are probably there. Very light sort of editing on this side. All the stuff that I can guarantee just by sight is nothing that we need to really focus on or worry about having in there. If anything, the little blips, if they were anything quote unquote important or not little blips, it would probably just be, you know, the active listening. Yeah. Yep. or whatevers that occasionally come out in polite conversation. You know what I mean? So I am just sliding through, going through into here. Okay, and there, and there, and Phil's usually got the most of them at this point, honestly. And that's fine. Fill. Okay, and so the ending, we will also export that. This is the Bamboo Lounge. And if I remember correctly, whoa, what happened there? That's not what I wanted to do. Their Patreon was still kind of messed up a little bit. They could have fixed it by now. So hopefully it's working now. The lounge. Okay, we got it. Good. Then we have to go into the lounge, do a little go to the end, and hit a little thing here. So call me Rose. Welcome. How are you doing? Thank you for the daily protection ward redeem. Hopefully you are doing well. You're now protected from the evils of the Negaverse. And hopefully that will make your day a little bit brighter going forward, even if it was bright already. Lovely to have you stop by. Currently finishing up this episode of Panda's Talking Games, and then figuring out what I'm going to be doing afterwards. We had a really interesting discussion about power dynamics, not only at the table, but in life in general, and how to navigate them with the power of communication. Really good episode. So I would recommend it when it comes out on Wednesday, or check out the VOD if you wanted my thoughts interjected in it. Really good stuff all around. Goes into a little bit of discussion about kinks, so content warning there, but always good to have mature discussions about things like that. Your Blue Jays lost? No, I'm feeling fantastic. As I was saying earlier, my hands mostly healed. Like, you can barely tell that this one has the owies on them. There's just a couple spots that are still healing a little bit. This one has like one knuckle a little bit, but like otherwise doing great there. My face is mostly healed up, if not fully. Everywhere else is looking fantastic, feeling fantastic. My nose is a little sensitive still, but like feeling better overall is amazing. And like knowing how different things could have turned out with like any number of variables, I'm extra thankful to be here, and extra thankful to be recovered and able to even do streaming and stuff like that. So like it's a blessing every day at this point. And making cool new friends and seeing all your names in the chat here makes me over the moon as well. So like tons of good stuff coming my way, which I am super happy about. I think I did all this episode here, and I did the lounge, I'm pretty sure. I think we're all set. So we can go ahead and do a batch process to turn these into MP3 files. Thank you. Okay, what happened? Generic error, it said? Come on. All right, we'll try it again. Sometimes when I do two files at the same time, it errors one of them out, and I'm not sure why. It never used to do that, which is wild. But, you know, it's fine. It's saving now, and that's all we can hope for. A 1 hour episode is wild. They usually like hit around the 55 minute mark. So getting to an hour, I mean, there's a lot to say, and there's even stuff they left on the table, so to speak, that they weren't able to like fully talk about. But like, I think I covered some of that in that absence. So talking about tone affecting power dynamics as well and consequences. Okay. So bringing up their MP3s, I am just popping those files into the chat, or not the chat, the Google Drive, where we can host all of their files there. And we are all set. Episode's done, sealed, delivered. It's good. Very good. Well, that is the extent of the editing that I was going to be doing today. Where are we sitting at? An hour and 45 minutes, give or take, for the stream. Not too bad. Had a little bit of discussion here and there in this episode. Had some really nice thoughts and points of topic that this episode covered. Was really happy about that. I will probably be back later today, maybe, with some more streaming. It really depends on a lot of factors. If Moon is able to hop on and play some Minecraft a bit later, I would love to do a stream with Moon as a guest. If Moon wasn't planning on streaming herself or wanted to join, completely up to her. I would love to take her to a pale forest and get some pale oak wood for her house build, because the image that she's basing her villa off of has these beautiful whitish walls. We think it's quartz blocks, which we don't have access to because we're not going to the nether quite yet. But pale oak stripped logs would be a phenomenal replacement, I think. So we might have to go and chop down a few pale oak trees and at the very least get some saplings. But I can't remember, if anybody knows, if you plant a pale oak tree and it grows, does it have a chance of growing with a heart of the forest? Because if it does, then you're risking throwing out there those creakings near your base. And that sounds terrifying. I don't want to do that. So maybe we just have to harvest everything from the pale oak forest itself and skedaddle. That might be the safest thing. I guess we'll see. It could be a fun time. So check with us later. I would post that in Moon's Discord. If you are on the Discord, definitely check it out. Palmeros, thank you for the hydration reminder. I certainly needed that. Wonderful. So keep an eye out for that. Tomorrow is Monday. What is Monday? What am I doing on Monday? Is it Minecraft? It's Minecraft Monday, I think. So I'll be doing some more SMP shenanigans tomorrow. I'll show off some of my cool new machines. Maybe we'll go adventuring. Maybe we'll have special guests. Who's to say? That'll be at 9:30 Central US time. And then Wednesday, got another stream coming up. Wednesday is going to be The Sims. We're going to be doing Rags to Riches, Magical Girl style. So we'll be joining Michiru Neptunia, modeled after Sailor Neptune herself. And we'll see kind of what fun shenanigans she gets up to as she tries to navigate, I think, love for the first time. So we'll see where that goes when she doesn't even have any walls to her abode. She's just sleeping on a bed under a tree for now, and she's perfectly happy with that. But would her significant other be as happy were she to move in? Drama. We'll see. And then Thursday, again, we'll be back to Minecraft with more Minecraft SMP as I'm continuing to heal up, but eventually, we'll get back to Hightail. We'll see how that goes. Chapter 1 is, quote-unquote, around the corner, a couple months now. And I'm really excited to check that out. And that brings us all the way back to next week, Sunday, where we're not going to have pandas. Maybe I'll do a podcast edit for something else. Maybe I'll just do more Minecraft because I'm heavily enjoying myself in that world. And I have a lot to do. I've got so many projects that are just, it's good. It's going to be wonderfully mind-blowing if I can pull them off. So join me for those to see if I can pull them off at all. So I think that's everything. That's my whole ending spiel, I think. I don't know. Follow me and like and subscribe or so. What do the people say? I don't know. I'm just here to have fun. and talk to cool people. So join me for that too. Let's get the social bridge back up and running. We've got our tunes playing us off in the background. So folks, if I don't see you again today or tomorrow or anytime soon, or if I do, have an excellent rest of your day. Have an excellent week. Stay safe. Take care. Drink plenty of water. And we'll see you next time, folks. All right. Bye-bye.